Okay, so first I'm going to change everything to matcap. I'm going to make sure that I'm in orthographic, and I want to make a platform. The top of the platform is going to be on this red line. So to make a platform, let's go ahead and add let's add a box. I'm going to use my gizmo to shrink it. I'll make it a little bigger. I'm losing my voice, as usual, when I start recording. And I really don't need this. Oops, I accidentally hit undo. I don't need this sphere, so I'm just going to delete it. And I don't need the grid anymore because we have this on the horizon line. All right, so first I'm going to start with, actually, let's name this floor. And I want to round the edges. So we're going to do this we're going to do this with the main box as well. So I'm just going to put the post subdivision up to 2 because I just like the way that that looks with the rounded edge, and validate. So I'm going to add a new box. Let's go ahead and move it up. So this is going to be the main cube. So I want to round these edges. So I'm going to tap gizmo, or tap so these options come back. I'm going to tap these 3 dots. And I think I want to bring this down to 4. And then put the post subdivision up to 2. It's pretty round. I actually would like it more round. So I wonder. Okay, yes, well, I'll put this to 2 and this to 3. That's a little bit closer to what the kind of cube that I want it to look like. I'm going to put the post subdivision up to 5. I'm going to validate. Okay, let's look at the Instagram symbol. Let's bring this into Nomad. So I'm just going to save it. And then I'm going to import it into Nomad by going here. Here. Reference image. Tap on the image. Import. Photos. And Instagram. I'm going to hit transform. Make it smaller. And just put it right here. Let's take the box. I'm going to drag it up here. And just clone it. I'm just going to rename it flat. Okay, so let's move flat, turn it to the right, and I want to take this out and make it a bit smaller, and then I want to flatten it. So maybe something like that. Then I'll push it back into the surface. It can be a little bit smaller. So I'm imagining if this is the outline of the white logo, because it's really just this white logo on this colored background. So now I want to take this smaller middle part that we named flat, and let's clone it. So now this flat cube, I'm going to name it flat X. So let's take the flat X, we'll pull it out some, and then we'll scale it down to what looks like is a good match for the logo. Now I'm going to take this little blue node and I'm going to pull it out. Now we want to do a Boolean. So we're going to Boolean this smaller one from this flat one. So all we have to do is take flat X and then select flat and then hit the little eyeball on flat X. And you see, you can still kind of see the ghost of the small one. We just go back here and just go to Boolean. And then we just hit Boolean. So now as you can see, we have a cutout here. Let's go ahead and voxel remesh it. I use the little voxel remesh shortcut down here. It's the same as if you were to go up here and go to voxel. It's all the same. You can see the numbers move just the same. I think 150 will be good. And then we'll just remesh. So that's going to make the edges a little bit better. But if you have round edge, then I would just take round edge. So here's how to make the round edge brush. So essentially just take the smooth brush, tap it, and then tap clone. And I'll just name it RE for round edge. Hit OK, and it's going to show up down here. So then you're going to go up to your settings in here, So then we tap here and we go to lock radius. So then we take the fall off. So just tap on it and then tap the flat one. Go to pressure and uncheck use global settings. And let's put both of these to flat the same way. So we hit preset, preset, tap, straight, tap, straight. So now we go down to our settings, our tool, tap it, and then hit save and confirm. You want to start off in the middle and then just drag downwards. And maybe just give it a few swipes to really clean it up. So I can't honestly tell if it's an optical illusion that the edges are kind of bowing in a little bit. I'm going to show you how I would fix that. Let's just rename it flat. That's what we know it as. So let's just rename it as flat. So I want to take symmetry and I want to use X and Y. I want to make sure I hit local. See how I can see the red line going down and the green line going across? And that'll just make our lives easier. So now when we use the move tool and we have symmetry on, we can slightly adjust right in the middle. Now again, this could just be an optical illusion, but I feel like it needs to just go up the slightest bit, and even here, just out the slightest bit. I think that looks better to me. We just need to make this round part, which we can use a cylinder with a hole. So let's add a cylinder. I'm going to turn it to the side and use the gizmo and then snap 90. And then I'm going to take this red ring and just snap it that way. So then I'll move it out, up. We can go ahead and shrink it. So all we have to do is hit the gizmo and tap hole. Let's use the blue node so we can make that about just as thick as the outer logo element. And also we can just go ahead and bring this together because we don't need that much real estate. And I'll just move it back with the gizmo. That way we can get a good understanding of how it's going to look. So it looks a little bit big and thin. So I'll tap gizmo again to bring my options back. The whole thing seems a little bit big. It's kind of hard to see this orange ring. But we'll make this a little bit smaller. And we'll validate it. Middle ring. And then we'll add another cylinder. We'll do the same thing. We'll just go ahead and hit the gizmo, snap 90 degrees. So then we'll just move it up, shrink it, and then we'll move it over into this upper corner. Whoops, make sure it's showing. Okay, we'll move it up, move it over. So right in the middle. I think that looks pretty good. So now let's move it in so it matches all of our other pieces. I just want to make all of these elements very crisp. What I'm going to do is voxel remesh everything really high, and then I'm going to use round edge and then decimate it. So make sure that you save. So then make sure you're on the ring and do a voxel remesh. I'm going to do a voxel remesh at like 550. Then I'll hit remesh. So now it's nice and crisp, but I'm going to take round edge. I'm just going to start from one side and I'm just going to drag it. And it's just going to continue to smooth out the edges. So I'll do it a bunch of times. And now I want to decimate it. So I will tap right here, miscellaneous, and decimate. So we'll decimate. We're already down to 82. You can keep going. Okay, so now we're less than where it was before, and it still looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to do the same thing with this shape. I'm going to save. Voxel remesh really high. I probably don't need to go as high as I did before. I'll just do 300. I'll do round edge. And then I'll just go ahead and decimate again. Okay, and we're at 3000, so I'm happy with that. Now this little guy, we validate. I'm going to voxel remesh it again. I'm just going to do around 250. Okay, and now I'm going to see if I can use round edge, and I want to see if those go away, these edges. Let's try with a regular smooth brush. Sometimes I have to use the regular smooth brush. I'm going to hit symmetry and local. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. So now we don't see those ribs. Sometimes the regular smooth is a little bit stronger. So now I'm going to decimate this and get it down to a normal size. That looks good. 1000. Okay, so now we also have this box, which is quite big, and it doesn't really need to be, so let's just go ahead and decimate it. But I think that looks pretty good. I think I'll keep it there. And for something like this, if you want to try to get the number lower, you can do the same thing that we've been doing. You can do a quick save. You can voxel remesh it a little bit higher. I'll do 250. Hit it with the round edge a bunch of times. And then you can try to decimate it. We'll see if we can get it down below 13. I think it was 13,000. So what I'm looking for as I'm decimating is I'm looking at these edges, looking for anything that looks other than smooth. Because that's when I know that I have to think about not decimating as much. So we're down to 11, down to 5. Okay, I can start to see a little bit of I can start to see some things changing there. So I think we'll leave it at 5,000. And at least that's less than what we had before. Okay, so let's color our main cube. I like cube is way more cute. So we want to color our main cube. So first let's get out of Metcap. Let's go to this little sun, and we'll get out of Metcap and go to Lit PBR and make sure we're on the cube. And we have to color it like a base color. So I think I'm just going to use maybe something like this. But I want to figure out how glossy or matte I want it. I think about there. Looks pretty good. So let's use our paint tool, and we'll use this little color sphere down here, and let's start with that yellow. So it has yellow, orange, red, magenta. So let's start with that yellow color. So I think it's around there. I'm going to add a layer. So I'm going to go up here to the layers and add a layer, and then go back to paint. We have our color. Make sure that we don't have symmetry on, because we don't need this to be symmetrical. And let's see how it smooths. So I'm going to be using Smoothie Poo. You can clone smooth just like the other one. So you'll clone that. And then for this tool, you just bring the intensity all the way down, and then you save it. And it's the same tool. So you would just use this as you would, like a brush, and it should give you a nice smoothness. Well, it's kind of smooth. Okay, so let's go to the next color. So let's use paint, and let's just go a little bit further down. We'll kind of paint around that. Oh, it's actually not that dark. Let's go a little bit darker. And just kind of continue. And I'm going to hide this because I do want to color the bottom as well. So I'm just going to hide that floor. So now we can see the bottom as well. So now it looks like a reddish, kind of a lighter magenta, but I think we can just continue to go down. So it looks like it goes purple here. Looks like it's purple up here. So I'm just going to kind of go around and pretend that it's in like a circle, even though I can't see the back. And then after the purple, there's a blue. It's like a light blue. Okay, and then there's like a pink as well. So we'll do like a light pink. And the pink looks like it comes through here and really colors a lot over here. And this stuff, I mean, you can do whatever kind of colors, however you want them. I'm just really trying to match this part here. So that looks pretty good. And then this seems like it's just somewhere in between. do a little bit more red. That actually looks pretty good. I think that looks decent. So hopefully this will smooth out nicely. I'm going to do a quick save. And let's use Smoothie Poo. And let's try to smooth this out as best we can. As you can see, some parts smooth really nicely. Some parts don't. You know, and parts of it I do wish were smoother. Like I can see this sort of striations here. And I'm not sure why that is. I noticed that if you do add a little bit of intensity to it, so I'm just going to add about maybe 15% intensity to Smoothie Poo. This is the one that we just made. So it's 50% intensity. So let's go to symmetry and just turn them all on and hit local. You should see it right in the middle. So if we turn on show lines, then all of our lines, you should see they should be going around. Now I'm going to smooth it out, but very softly. I don't really want to mess up the shape that we've made of the cube too much. And that's why the intensity is pretty low. So it doesn't seem like it's doing too much damage, but it looks like we can also get some really nice smooth colors. And it's going to be smoothing out the other side as well, whether we need it or not, because I really want to maintain the consistency with the cube. Okay, so now at least the colors look nice and smooth. So all of these we decimated, so we might as well just put them together. So we have the cylinder, the middle ring, and the flat, and I'm just going to join them. I'll just rename them white. Okay, and we really like the colors, so I'm just going to go ahead and collapse that layer. And let's add a few lights. So let's go ahead and turn off our environment. And we'll add a light here. I usually put this intensity to like 2. And this is a sunlight, but I'm still going to move it up here because that's where the light looks like it's coming from. I'm going to go ahead and turn on post-process. I'll turn the quality up, but you can probably wait until you're going to render. I'm just turning it up because I want you guys to see it at its best. So I have some, you can play around with all of these and just get it to a place that you like. I have some settings that I saved that I always use. Somehow I keep doing that. I keep cloning them by accident. I'm going to use DFD2, which is just like my default settings. But I'll show them just in case you want to see what my settings are. I'll let you pause it. Let's see what this looks like with subsurface. Let's see what this looks like with subsurface. I think it looks good either way. Okay, so we have one light. I'm going to go ahead and clone that one light. And I'm going to drag it over here. And this is going to be, I'm going to go back to the lighting panel and rename this rim. So that's going to be the rim light. So now we're going to put that on the back side there. Just make a nice little shine on the back, maybe a little bit on the top too. And let's tap our 3 little dots, and I like softness, so I'm going to tap the softness. Looks good. Maybe we'll make this a little warmer. Okay. Let's add another light. Bring it over here. And this one, I think I just want another light kind of on the side. Something like this to really bring out that depth in that corner, in this corner here. So I think that's actually pretty nice. I might make this one a little cooler because why not? So we'll make this light a little cooler. So now there's a little bit of an edge on that side, which I think looks good. So I'll go back to the lights and add a last light. And let's rename this TD. And this will be somewhere along the top, so I'm just going to move it up for now. Let's change it from a sunlight to a spotlight. Okay, so now I'm going to move it over, up, angle it down on our logo here. So I want to bring it a little bit more in front and then angle this towards it. This little orange node will make the cone wider and smaller. And I want to up the intensity a little bit. So I think that looks pretty good. And let's put it in perspective. Let's save one in the middle. Press the little camera, add view. I'm just going to rename this 1. And then we'll have one that's off center a bit. And I'll save this, add view, and save this as 2. So I'm going to go ahead and save our progress. Go to the lighting panel. We'll turn on our environment. Extremely bright, so I'm going to turn it down. We do want that nice shadow on the one side. So this will essentially just be like a fill light. So let's go back to our view. I'm actually going to hide this. I'm going to hide the floor. I'm going to hide the floor. I'm going to hide the reference image. I'm going to get rid of these lines. So I'll go to symmetry and turn off show line. Hit select so that ring goes away. So we'll go here, do a turntable, and then we have our little cube. Make it a little smaller. And the reason why I wanted to do this, because I think I want to do play around with some really light animation in Blender. And I want to use this to try to make it sort of roll into frame so I can get a few more people over to my Instagram. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.